Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, July 2nd. On the impact map, we have heat building northwards and eastwards across the Great Basin. We haven't included the highest terrain across Utah, but definitely temperatures 10 to as much as 15 degrees warmer than they have been in this area of red. The dashed line we're indicating here is where fuels are basically critical. Both the fine fuels and some of the live fuel moisture is approaching critical levels also. So something we're keeping an eye on. Also some gusty winds here in the orange on Monday and then shifting eastwards on Tuesday. We'll have to watch and see if some of these model prognoses are correct. We might have to issue high risk for the first time this year in some of our southern areas. Still wait and see. Otherwise, just some very isolated showers or thunderstorms in the highest terrain shifting eastwards. On Tuesday, we had a fair amount of lightning in the northern and northeastern areas. A very light precipitation, again, hit and miss. New fire starts in the red, recent fires in the yellow. So activity's picking up. Nothing large yet, but definitely picking up activity as we're heading into this July 4th period. I'm just going to skip backwards here. Our last 7 days here on the left. Most of the moderate rainfall was over the higher terrain of Idaho and parts of eastern Idaho, western Wyoming. And that's been the same case for the last 14 days. So you notice the Snake River Plain, especially areas south of I-80, little to no precipitation. So we're starting to see some drying. Looking at our 100-hour fuels, looks like here in the yellow to orange is where 100-hour fuels are in the upper single digits, 8 to 10%, maybe locally closer to 6% in this darker shade of orange. Looking at some fuel charts here across the Arizona Strip and far southern Utah, you can see the blue line, which is the observed, has dropped down to the gray line, which is the average for this time of year. And normally this is the driest time of year for fuels down south because normally the monsoon comes in and the averages start to rise, but we continue to plummet and we're very close to the 90th percentile. The same story here across southeastern Utah. We will not be bouncing back like the averages are. We're going to continue dropping over the next several days for sure. And that's because of this hot and dry high pressure system over us. You see the dryness in the atmosphere on this water vapor imagery. Most of the steady clouds are well up to the north. So for today, high pressure builds in across the area. You can see our critical conditions or significant fire potential from still benign green in parts of Nevada, much of Idaho, Wyoming, and higher terrain of Utah to critical in our far south, and yellows kind of in between. Not quite benign, not quite critical, but we'll be getting drier over the next couple of days. You can see the humidity down into the 5 to 7% range down south, low to mid-teens elsewhere, closer to 20% or so in the Idaho mountains. Winds, some locally breezy conditions where you see the dark green and oranges through here. Most of those areas do not have critical fuels. You can see the temperatures at 100 in Reno, 111 down in Vegas, getting up into the mid-90s here in the valleys of northern Utah as well, and even getting up into the mid-90s up near the Boise area with those dry humidities. The high pressure gets pushed a little bit further south. There's a dry cold front coming in from the north. Our 7-day fire potential here, we do see an increase in winds, these orange to purple winds, gusts of 25 to 30, maybe locally 35. We'll have to watch. The humidity will be low. Fuels are cured here in the far south. Even up here, there's a good carryover here in the Snake River Plain, even though the live fuel moistures are still very high. Can't rule out the chance of some fires catching up here in the north. Tuesday, that dry cold front pushes on through. More dry air mass coming in. We still stay hot basically south of the I-80 corridor. See a few more PSAs slipping into the brown. The humidity, again, bone dry in the south and pretty dry up through central and even some northern areas also. We'll have to watch this prognosis for wind. If we do see this 30 to 40 mile an hour wind prognosis in our computer models tomorrow, this may require a high-risk issuance. We'll wait and see on that just one more day. No significant precipitation in the next 3 days other than some scattered stuff across northeastern areas where fuels are still fairly moist. No sign of the monsoon, still south of the Arizona border. Now, as we go into Wednesday next week, still seasonably warm or seasonably hot. especially down in the south, dryness pushing in. And we see the gradient, upper level gradient, tightening a little bit as we go into Thursday and Friday. So we may see some moderate winds again, very dry here. There could be some isolated showers and some clouds as there is some higher air mass humidity further north. You can see by the end of the 7-day period where we are critical and where we are marginal. So we are getting into fire season, at least across the southern third of the geographic area. And that continues into Saturday as well. Precipitation totals for the next 7 days, not much at all. Most of this is in the next 48 hours or so. And the monsoon, nowhere to be found as we go into July 9th. And the prognosis for that as we go to the 8 to 14-day outlook, July 9th to the 15th, monsoon nowhere to be found. This is expected with the developing El Nino. It robs a lot of that moisture, prevents the Four Corners high from starting the El Nino, the monsoon process. So southern areas could see a big pickup in fire activity. We could push that into the central areas as well, along with above normal temperatures. This concludes our fire potential briefing. We are now in 7-day operations. This will be done every day, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday through the fire season. Have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow.